check this thing out. What is it? Well, yeah. What? Yeah, new purchase. I've had a few videos recently that were kind of like intro to various vehicles that I have. Well, this one's an intro video, but it literally is a new purchase. I just got this thing in the last few weeks. A little different. Not exactly sporty car or something like that. This is a, well, as you can probably see there in the title, 2500 GMC. This is a 2001 GMC Sierra 2500 HD. So these trucks in the early 2000s, I think that's when the HD heavy duty name came out, at least for GM. But there was actually a difference. There was a 2500 and then a 2500 HD. I don't remember all the specifics. I'd probably have to look it up, but I think it was different engine options. I think maybe a little better suspension, frame, things like that. But it wasn't a ton, but there technically was a difference. But yeah, like I said, 01 HD 2500 GMC Sierra. So probably the question is, why? Well, cheap tow vehicle, to be honest. I currently have a Suburban. I did a video on that a while back. That is really my only real legitimate tow vehicle. I have a half-ton Chevy truck that's kind of doing some work on right now, but limited to pulling like my big car trailer and things like that because half-ton 5.3. Where this thing, not that it's your typical tow vehicle, but this is a 6-liter gas engine with a 4L80. And being a 2500, it has the 14-bolt rear and all the heavy-duty stuff. So, looking at it, you can probably kind of tell. Looks like a work truck because it basically is a work truck. The history on this thing is it came from a local jurisdiction up here in Colorado. Spent its whole life as a city, just a city vehicle. Just recently sold at an auction to someone who then I in turn bought it off after they had about a year. They had a landscape and snowplow business, and long story short, they wanted another 4x4 truck because I haven't mentioned, but yeah, it's only, if you can tell, maybe you can, but if not, it's only 2-wheel drive. So this is not necessarily going to be a winter machine. This is going to be for utility and towing, things like that. Probably more short term, but who knows? You never know. But yeah, so city vehicle, spent its whole life, typical city maintenance, which was pretty good, from what I can tell, just looking at things. This being an 01 meant it spent more or less 20 years in the city, which is a long time. And what the story I was told, who knows if it's true or not, but lower mileage vehicles, this thing only has 130, 140, somewhere around 1,000 miles. It was just kind of a secondary vehicle because it wasn't 4-wheel drive. It wasn't obviously used a lot in the winter. And it just didn't hit their kind of mileages and age out. I guess it wouldn't be necessarily age, but when they decide to replace vehicles at this certain municipality, they didn't get triggered till last year. So like I said, another guy bought it, fixed it up, and then, his plans changed, and I got a good deal on it, so it's the newest one in the collection. So yeah, I know it's weird, but let's check this thing out. Okay, starting from the front, it is the first of the newest the new 2000 generation of the heavy duty trucks. These trucks came out in 99 with the half-ton trucks, and then in 01 they started coming out with the 3/4 ton, 1 ton, etc. I don't know what the official designation is, but this is the first trucks that, basically new Millennium trucks, to be honest. But a couple things this already has. The previous owner put new headlights, turn signal, lenses, all that kind of stuff. Put different mirrors on it. Just the old ones were kind of beat up, so that's been replaced. Otherwise, basic kind of like work truck front end. Pretty simple, not a lot of options. No tow hooks or anything. I mentioned it was 2-wheel drive. It's sitting up pretty high, it looks, but that's just a 2500 HD truck in this era with, even if it was 2-wheel drive, just was a higher truck. It might have the torsion bars cranked a little in the front. Not sure. Haven't dove into that yet, but otherwise, exterior is pretty much stock. It does have some super awesome wheels and tires on it. These were kind of a mismatched set that he threw on there because I didn't want the bling wheels that were on it. But otherwise, yeah, exterior is obviously stock. Not perfect, but honestly for a work truck, no major dents, just some wear, things like that. A little bit of paint wear down here from people getting in and out over the years. A couple minor dents. This is the big one. And honestly, I don't even care for really what it is. The bed, I don't know if it had some heavy load on it or something was sitting there in the corner, but unfortunately cracked and then spread. May try to fix it. I don't know. I mean, maybe at least to keep it from spreading any worse, but may try to fix it a little bit, but not too worried for what I'm gonna use it for. It's not that big of a deal. But anyway, the wheels are all matching. They're just the standard steel wheels. But the tires are kind of mismatched. This one I started out up here up front is actually the spare that's been on it forever. So it's actually more or less a new tire, but it is 20 years old. So probably still keep it around as a spare, but otherwise no real use for it. The ones back here were just some extras he threw on, just because, like I said, I didn't want the original, or the wheels were on it. Long bed, 8-foot bed. Nothing special really. No fifth wheel hitch or anything in it. It does have a toolbox. It'll probably be gone, or maybe put a black one on there, but I'm not really a chrome guy. Not even registered yet, so like I said, pretty basic stock, nothing too exciting. Walk around this side, more of the same. Little dent here down by the door, but not too worried about that. Kind of is what it is, but not probably worth fixing. Just leave it on there. I've done nothing with it. This is kind of how it's just a few rainstorms been on it, because once again it rains nonstop out here. But yeah, just kind of is what it is. So you can pop the hood, but honestly just typical 6-liter, nothing special in there. All stock internally, 100 and I don't even remember, 40-ish thousand miles, but still runs really well. Yeah, let's check out the interior. So the interior in this thing is a little different. Not your typical work truck interior. Well, I should clarify, technically it is originally. A lot of vinyl, rubber floor, which I actually don't mind. Steering wheel needs to be replaced. Kind of worn out, but I'll put a new one on there. It's got a cover on it. It says Chevy and GMC on the GMC truck, Chevy cover. Kind of funny. But headliner has to be replaced. Literally hang it down. Might even just rip it off to start with, but I'll fix that. But kind of the obvious thing is, especially if you're familiar with this era trucks and work trucks, not the seats that would be in it. Kind of a cool thing. The previous owner ripped out the old bench seat that was in here, vinyl, nothing special, and he did have either he had or he found same era buckets and cloth, but actually, yeah, okay shape. Yeah, they're a little worn, but at least they're not ripped like so many of these are, so good enough for at least a while. But it's buckets that does have the center, so if you theoretically could get a third person, probably never will, but you know, if you ever needed to, you could. But yeah, so basic, you know, crank windows, manual locks. You know, it does have a head unit, does work fine. Everything is supposed to work, does what it is. Could use good cleaning. Oh, this here, I just took that off trying to see what was going on, because it used to have a light up top that was removed, but they left the wiring, so I'll clean that up, and then panels laying over there, I'll just put that back on. But yeah, so other than a good cleanup, you know, and there's a couple cracked pieces and things like that just for the era and city use vehicle, things like that. But honestly, it's not bad. And once again, well, probably never even mentioned, but not it's obvious, this is just a regular cab truck. So these are becoming rarer and rarer nowadays. Everything's crew cab or extended, well, even extended cabs are getting rare. But anyway, the interior is, you know, needs good cleaning and a few pieces replaced, but honestly, it's not bad. So Okay, we'll wrap this up a little bit. This is just a quick video, but there's the truck and the interior and the basics about it. And I guess the last question really is, what's the plans for this thing? Like I mentioned when I started the video here, it's gonna be a tow vehicle and just kind of utility vehicle for me. Obviously, it does not have four-wheel drive, so this thing more or less will be parked from December through March. It's pretty much the heaviest snow months we have out here. But for the rest of the year, I'm going to use it to tow my, the big red trailer back there. Any other kind of, let's get an open trailer as well. So utility things like that. But I do have a few plans for it. Not a ton. Not put a ton of money into this, but there's a couple things I want to do that I think will significantly affect the way it looks and make it a lot more fun. It does have a couple mods, I guess you could say. Well, not much really. The engine internally, externally, everything is stock. I do have a K&N intake I think I can throw on it. But otherwise, pretty much keep it that way, at least for now. Transmission, everything's stock. The previous owner, he did cut off the factory exhaust and weld in a Flowmaster muffler with a dump on it. So it sounds pretty good. It's not terribly loud, so I'll leave. I mean, that works fine. I guess the factory one was starting to rot a little. So nothing crazy there. But the big thing is, and we already got parts on the way. So the plan is to actually lower this truck a little bit. A little more than a little bit, I should clarify. I have a DJM suspension kit coming. 6 inches in the front, 8 inches in the rear. And the reality is, it's going to be a little more than that from what I can tell looking online. Well, it's not going to tuck anything. It's going to pretty much eliminate the entire gap. So you're probably having, I don't know, an inch or two at the most between the tire and the upper fender there. And more or less the same here in the back. So bring this truck down quite a bit. Obviously, since it's two-wheel drive, there's quite a bit more you can do. The front is upper and lower control arms that basically raise the spindle location, which in turn lower it. And then the rear back here will be a flip kit. Obviously, if you look down in the front there, the way the front half of the frame is pretty low, and that actually is going to get quite a bit lower despite the fact how high the truck is. But that is definitely the big mod that's going to come on this truck and really change this thing quite a bit. Otherwise, nothing too crazy. I'm even thinking about maybe even honestly just reusing these wheels. I don't want to go crazy with the wheels. I don't want some big flashy thing or just some oversized wheel. So probably go with the same wheel and tire combo, just get new tires. Maybe just powder coat the wheels, which let's be honest, powder coating basically means a little bit of rattle can. Yeah, so basically this wheel and tire pack is just moved up. So I think it'll be pretty cool. But anyway, here's another new one. Literally is a new one, at least to me. Quite a bit to do on this one. That lower end kit is pretty substantial. Probably want to get that one done pretty quick. Use this thing for the rest of the next 3-4 months, whatever, until the weather shows up, and then go from there. But yeah, I think this one will be pretty fun. Pretty inexpensive vehicle in the grand scheme of things. Just a few mods to really change the look and still be useful and utilitarian. So that's the intro to the 2001 GMC Sierra 2500 HD, literally the newest addition to the fleet. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.